Hello there, just running around doing a few little maintenance jobs on my 2015 Royal Enfield Bullet 500, and I just want to check my clutch free play. The book states that that needs to be between 2 and 3 millimeter there, from the point there, the gap between the silver section and the black section, and there should be a little bit of free play there, which is, I think, about right for me. I quite like a little bit of movement there before it starts pulling the clutch itself. So I'm going to show you how to make the adjustment should you need to increase or decrease that gap there. The adjustment is made by this section here. We have a lock nut to hold it in place when it's all adjusted correctly, and this is the actual adjusting nut itself. What we're actually adjusting is the amount of movement in the clutch lever before it starts to pull this clutch lever here. To adjust it, you need a 12mm spanner. First, undo the lock nut. Okay, just move that back a little bit. Now, this nut here actually draws, if you tighten it towards you, it draws the cable out that way, which reduces the amount of play in the lever. If you move it back that way, it basically loosens the cable moves back in, the outer cable moves that way, and you end up with rather a large amount of play in the handle. If you adjust it too far the other way, take up too much slack. I'm just going to show you. Then you end up with no actual play in the lever, which will cause premature wear on the clutch. It'll overheat, possibly slip, and eventually you will damage the clutch. So what we're ideally looking for is, I'm going to loosen this back off, which allows the cable, the outer cable, to move, and I'm going to adjust that until I'm back to the amount of play I had in the cable at the lever end when I started. I'd rather have it slightly loose than too tight personally, although if you go too far the other way you will cause a drag on the clutch and the gears won't change cleanly. I have a little bit too much there, so I'm just going to tighten it back up again a little bit. And here we are. A little bit of free movement so as it's not dragging and pulling on the cable, and then when you pull the lever it pulls the clutch in. So when you're happy that the actual clutch is adjusted correctly, you just need to tighten this nut back up again. Don't need to tighten it too much. I'm just going to hold that with my finger there, and you just tighten it up and just nip it up. You don't have to go too tight, and what that does is it prevents this moving around. It just locks it in position, and that is it effectively. Quite an easy job to do. It's a very, very common setting for a lot of motorbikes, although sometimes the cable adjustment is done on the lever end. There's sometimes an adjuster just on the where the cable enters the lever itself. But once you know the actual amount of free play that you need for your clutch, then usually that is pretty much the same way you do it. I've had quite a few motorbikes over the years, and some have been on this section, some have been on the handlebar. Some of them have got actual adjusters built into the side of it. If it's an old British bike, very often there's an adjuster on the outside of the chain case, and that has to be set first. Then you take up the free play with the cable. But for this bike, this is just about how it is done. So hopefully that will help you, and I'll be covering other little maintenance jobs I do as and when I do them. I've got some front fork oil to change at some point. That's due sometime soon. Probably re-grease the head bearings as well. Chain alignment and everything's been done. Quite a straightforward job. So yeah, so that's it for now. So I don't doubt I'll see you again in a future video. So bye for now, and safe riding.